flips me.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. We are live. Hey everybody, welcome to the Yanks Cup Champions League special. We're going to do a post-match analysis of the Liverpool versus Leipzig game, where we are obviously in Budapest tonight. So tonight it's just going to be me and the lovely Sophie. Andrew and Stephen can't join us tonight again.
Oh, it's going to be warm.
So it's just going to be us two flying the flag. But yeah, it's actually a positive. The fact that this has been a while since we've done one where we can actually be happy that we're doing a happy podcast at Liverpool won. But also before we start, just make sure everyone you're watching that you like and subscribe, because the more you like and subscribe, the more content we can put out, and it allows us to get more viewers and reach more people. So start off, Sophie. How do you feel that you just won tonight?
Oh shit! Absolutely awful. No, I feel great. Start with exactly what I said last night. We needed to do everything we needed to do. We did. We just came out all guns, all guns blazing. It was amazing, and I just watched the game being like, "This is what we wanted. This is the Liverpool that we've been crying out for weeks." And it's such a relief to actually have a good game for once, and not to concede. We got a clean sheet.
I know that clean sheet was huge. The wonders it's going to do for us. But let's obviously for me, I'm actually excited because it feels like Liverpool come alive in the Champions League. We'll get onto that a bit later on, but it just feels like we are a different beast when it comes to Champions League football, and it feels good. It feels good to feel this happy again. It's been such a long time since I've felt this way. I've lost that feeling, so it just feels good. So just getting onto the game, what did you think of the lineup originally when the team was put out?
Well, we were talking last night, weren't we, about the lineup, and that's pretty much what we all kind of said would be the lineup. I did say ideally I'd like Hendo back in midfield, and I'd like to have seen Phillips in place instead. But we knew that Hendo was going to be played in centre back regardless of what we personally wanted. So I wasn't upset by the line. I was quite like, okay, yeah, that's what I expected. Okay, we're going to go 4-3-3 again. That's fine. And I was just hoping that communication error that we talked about last night between Kabak, Hendo and Alisson was going to be sorted. And I'm so thankful it fucking was. So much better.
Let's read some of the comments. J-Dot, next time we'll get you on. Don't worry. Breaking news, Chris Wilder just said Liverpool bloody won a game. Yeah. Brilliant performance, much more like ourselves. 2 crucial away goals. Fully control the tie up the Reds. Gaurav, hope I'm not butchering your name. Andrew and Stephen can't make it tonight due to family problems, so they will be back on very shortly. So it's just me and Sophie flying the flag. J-Doc, there was some shank parts, but my King Mo always showing up. Well, I don't want to laugh at FSG out peeps. Yeah, I do see FSG out people will be quiet tonight. Yes, I think as well, for me, when I saw the lineup, I think it was the only lineup really Klopp could do on the European stage. I mean, I know we spoke yesterday about potentially, I mentioned, maybe doing Phillips or Davis, but we knew this is probably going to be the lineup Klopp was going to go with. And hey Path, good to see you. And yeah, it was the only one he really could go with, because obviously with the injuries he got out, so it was the best one. And how do you think we started the game, in terms of the first, because both teams started quite well, in terms of how they started. Leipzig started quite fast, tried to take the game to us, pressing us. Yeah. And then eventually we took control of the game and started bossing us. So how did you feel in the overall first half? In terms of the start?
First half is exactly how I wanted us to play it out. I said it yesterday, it was a midfield battle. And what I really wanted us to do was go in and go hard, but I also wanted us to control that midfield and sit back. Let them come to us, test us, see where they're at, see what their front three are like. Their front 4 or 5, however many fucking people you've got to shoot the ball when they all missed. But that's what I wanted. I wanted to sit back those first 20 minutes and just analyse the game, see what they're going to bring to us. And we did just that. And then we responded. And I don't really recall them having much in our half, very much at all that first half. It was very much a controlled game. We dispossessed them quite a lot, quite often in that midfield. And then we just broke out on that counter from them. And I was really impressed, especially with that first 20 minutes. I just thought we controlled that game, even though we let them come to us. it was a case of, okay, we're letting you come to us, we're struggling. They were chasing us all the time, and that's what you want to see. You want to see that calm throughout the team. So I was first impressions for the first half, like first 20 minutes or so, I was quite happy with it. Like,
yeah, I have to agree with you. I think like our game plan was quite intelligent. Like it was more or less just to control the game and to, you know, I thought I'll insert our authority on the game and show that, you know, we are the better team than Leipzig. Even the players who got out injured, you know, as good as Leipzig are, we're still a much more superior team to them. And, you know, I felt obviously like there's a part of me where I thought, well, you know, like, I thought maybe our lack of clinicalness was going to catch us up again, because there's a time where, you know, Mo was put through and I thought if he passes to Sat Mane, he's free, we score. I thought there's a chance where Bobby
should have passed back to Mane.
I thought, are we going to do the same thing as always? Like, so were you a bit nervous there when you saw we were missing those chances and not having that final pass?
Do you know what? No, because for the first time, even though we were missing the chances, we weren't just whacking them anywhere, but like blind, like where we have recently. We've just been absolutely trying to spam in crosses and just trying to get it in any chance we can. These were clinically made decisions, and that was the difference for me. It wasn't just hitting it and hoping for God that it went in the back of the net. They were timed, they were challenging it, and they were thinking about that goal. Yeah, they were off target, but it was the fact that it was like the fire. For me, it was how many times have we had a shot now? We are getting closer, we are going to get a goal. And I think when Bobby got his diving header, that obviously it went out of play. I think that like completely opened the floodgates. And that was the moment where the lads were like, yeah, this is what we do. And so no, it didn't make me nervous. It was more of a case of we're hungry, we've got this. It made me prepared that I was like, okay, we're going to see some really good goals tonight. And well, we did.
Did you feel like, obviously, you know, Leipzig are very strong in Germany, and did you feel that kind of took it away from them in terms of like them not having that home comfort, and then not having obviously the fans behind them, knowing that, you know, it's a stadium that they're not used to either, so it took away the, you know, obviously the advantage of having home comforts. And did you think that kind of played a part, you know, in terms of how Leipzig approached the game, or in how their performance?
I think it's gonna knock you, isn't it? Like you can't sit there and say it's not. Leipzig weren't going to feel that today. They were expecting wholly to be in their stadium. They're in a completely new ground. It's not even like the away team's ground. It was a completely different country. It was in Budapest. Like, you know, they're not going to be prepared for that, and they were going to feel the knock-on effect of that. Less for us because we were already going away. We were already in that mentality of this is our away game. To them, it will have felt like an away game without the rewards of the goals on aggregate. That's what it will have felt like, I imagine, to them, and it would have been a lot more pressure for them to stand up in an unknown environment. But then again, we might have to do the same thing when it comes to the return. So I don't know it. It's possible, and it's quite probable that it has impacted them. But then again, they should be used to playing in different stadiums.
Yeah, I think with Leipzig, because I heard that their home record is very formidable in Germany. Like they don't leave often there.
So was ours.
Yeah, so I think for them it did take away from them, because, you know, obviously when you're not used to a stadium, especially when you're playing in these kind of like knockout stages, not having it at home it does take it away from you, especially if you have like that buzz from your own home fans. But I think overall, like, I was expecting a bit more from Leipzig than what I saw.
And I was.
So I was a bit disappointed.
Like, I was expecting to be a bit more, like, have a bit more bite about them, you know, a bit more aggressive play, and they just kind of chased us around and picked up the scraps. But I don't know whether that was clever play by us, we just didn't give them a look in, or whether they just didn't turn up the way we expected them to. Like, I genuinely can't decide whether it was we just turned up and I was like, oh my God, we actually can play football still. Or torn between, did Leipzig not really turn up the best that they can? Or do we just keep them quiet? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think obviously because I think they got to a quarterfinal last year. So I mean, it's not that they don't have European pedigree, but I think I think what I noticed from what they, I think their main game was trying to stop us from playing. You know, I don't think they played their game because how much they were pressing us and trying to ensure that, you know, Trent and Robbo and the centre backs and Alisson were closed down. I felt that they went into this game trying to stop us rather than playing their game. And I think obviously when teams do that, it only spells danger for them. But going on to the game, obviously it ended half time, and you know, obviously I went into that half time feeling like we should have been just if the final ball was better, we could be 1 or 2 goals up here. You know, and obviously in that at the start of the first half, we got an early goal quite quickly. I think they had like 2 defensive howlers, which was good to see.
Excuse me, I'm bringing it up. Who wanted to sign him, McCombert? Who wanted to sign him? Was it you? You wanted us to sign him? Yeah? No. Do you know what? As soon as he made those howls, the amount of times he got dispossessed in that bloody game, he just gave the ball. Like, I was sat there going, I can't wait to say something to Wahomey on this podcast. I can't wait to rub it in his face and be like, holy shit. But you went on for weeks. We should sign him. We should sign him. We should sign him. And now I see you fucking backtracking on your Twitter going, oh yeah, he's got defensive errors, but he's good on one-on-ones. He's quick. I see you backpedaling, lovely.
Yeah, because actually I realised he's overrated. He's overrated, actually. He's overrated. Like.
Now you change your tune.
Yeah. Because I think I got caught up with the hype of him, but actually I realised that. He's good at one-on-ones, Kano. He is quick, but he's got a lot of errors in him, and his play with the ball's not that good. So
he's not very good.
No, I didn't like him. So I'm just thinking like I'm not that bothered actually buying bought him. I mean, obviously, Gaurav says here, Bayern one day they should have taken Kabak in place of Upamecano, Elbakov. Yeah, I think that's true. I think it's true because he didn't that great tonight. Even when Man United played Leipzig home and away, Upamecano didn't look that great again in that games. So
I love watching you backpedal. It's fucking fantastic.
My hands up. I put my hands up and I say, yeah, I bought Upamecano hype, and I was tonight. One year doesn't make it a bad player. He's not
caught up in that. Let's buy all these players hype. We need to sign someone, and you were just picking names out of a hat. Go, yep, they'll do. Yep, they'll do. They're a centre back. They'll do. Backfired.
But it was good just to see those defensive errors on the opposite side. And I think like the one thing I think we noticed tonight, we might not see in other weeks, is Salah and Mane were clinical when they went through. You know, I think maybe the Leicester game they weren't. For example, when Salah went through 1-on-1, they didn't have, or Mane didn't have that kind of clinicalness. But today they were on it, and it was a much improved performance. And so, like, what did you take in terms of like Mane's performance overall? Because you know, obviously he's been a topic of discussion over the season, like in terms of like his own performance, because he's not been as good as he has been in past seasons. And obviously there's a thing where people say, look, because he does the hard work in terms of defensive stuff, people don't normally criticize Mane, and they might criticize Salah, but actually overall Mane's not been that good this year. So how did you feel about his performance was today?
Much improved. He was much, much better today. Like, you saw that Mane, and you know, I tweeted it during the game that Mane loves a Champions League goal. Like, he always loves a Champions League goal. He always turns up in those games. That seems to be like his fire. Like, Champions League is his thing, type thing. That's where, you know, his passions lie, probably more so than the Premier League, I think. I think for him, winning the European Cup is a bit more important. I don't know, that's just the way I feel about it. But he was much better today, so much better. But I remember saying, I think it was the Leicester pre-match or something, we were talking about Mane and Robbo, and I was saying how Robbo looked very tired, and because Robbo was tired, he wasn't doing those pivots with Mane, which wasn't giving Mane the chance to run and track it across and drag the ball and drag the defenders out so that Robbo can cross it in. Robbo was so much better today. You know, he was up and down that pitch, and I think because he had that energy in him, that's probably for me why Mane shined. Because I feel like when Robbo doesn't shine, Mane falters because he can't do those things that make Mane great. So that, for me, it was a combination of if Robbo wasn't on form like he was tonight, would would Mane have shined as bright as he did? Would he have been on fire as he was? Would he have been able to make those runs and be through one-on-one? Because every time he made those runs, Robbo was the one who was in midfield pushing him up. So
yeah, I agree with that totally. I do think like our forwards like Salah and Mane, we rely on Trent and Robbo being in form because of the space they create each other, link-up play, and also it allows them to cut inside and the fullbacks take away a marker. So I think obviously Robbo, who hasn't been in good form the last couple of games, it does have a massive impact on Mane because, like I said, they aren't doing the combinations, they aren't linking up as much. So I do agree. Yeah, it was much improved tonight by Mane in terms of his link-up play, his touch. I think touch is much improved. I think a lot of times with Mane, you feel like he always has that tired touch.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was like really good just to see like Mane get that goal. I think it's what he needed because hopefully now, we know he also loves a goal against Everton. So hopefully now he can now kick on and we can now see, the Sadio Mane of seasons past, and we can just start going on a good run. And what do you think about Salah? Because that's like his 18th goal now.
Oh, Salah! I've said it all season. I don't care how bad our defensive crisis has been or how big our injury list has been. Salah has been amazing for me this season. There's been very minimal games where I've not enjoyed watching Salah play, and I don't think he's stood out for like you just said. Then he's got 18 goals this season so far. We're 6th, and he's the top goal scorer for the Premier League. Like that says something about his form. Like, come on, he's absolutely outstanding so far this season. Like, but to get 18 goals and still be tracking back and doing all that defensive work as well and making those runs the way he has, Salah's just been outstanding for me from beginning to end. And today was another example of exactly what Salah does well. Today he didn't have to track back defensively as much. We were quite solid down there. I felt like Kabak did a really good job of working with. He was on the right, was it Jones?
Yeah, Jones. Yeah.
He did a really good job of working with Jones and with Trent, and I think they did a really good job of keeping that side quiet. So that allowed Salah to run up the wing, and you saw it. Like I think one of the commentators said it near halftime or just after halftime that Leipzig were just chasing us round, and we were just passing the ball around, recycling it to give our front three a little bit of a breather before we go on another run. And then Salah was bombing it again, and I just think that's what he does. And it was nice to actually see that in isolation and not worry about, a makeshift midfield and defence. It felt a lot calmer for me. And I feel like that impacted the front three.
Yeah, and I think as well, like how Leipzig set up, because they because they're pushing up so much, it came to the point where they had 3 centre-backs versus our 3 forwards. So I think also that setup allowed our forwards to have a lot of space and get behind. And I think obviously we could have had more if it wasn't. Sometimes still the final touch wasn't that great overall, or the final pass. But I think Leipzig again were a bit naive in how they set up because it allowed us to really get our forwards one-on-one with their centre backs, which is always a danger. But yeah, I think Salah's been amazing again this year. People can criticise him. He gets lots of stick. He's probably like the most underappreciated attacker we've had in the last 30 years because he's not loved in the same way as say Suarez was or Torres was, because people are always still saying like summer comes, I'm happy to sell Salah. If it was Suarez or Torres, you'd never hear that with them about them. No one would ever say Southern Summer.
I don't get it. I don't. There are some fans out there. Not everyone. I feel like I have to clarify that. Not everyone. But there are some fans out there who've got a serious agenda against Salah, and I don't understand why. And they go, all we want is somebody to score goals for us. Well, we've got one. We've got Salah. Like, what more could you physically want from a player? Oh, he's greedy. Oh, we should sell him while we can get money for him still. But like you've just said, you'd never say that about Torres. When Torres left to go to Chelsea, people were burning the shirt in Liverpool because they were so absolutely gutted that he'd gone. So it's like I don't understand why this hatred for Salah comes in. Like, what more can you physically want from your winger? Like, he's aggressive. He's strong. He's fired up for a goal all the time. Yes, he's greedy, but if you're, I've said it before and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face, if your strikers aren't greedy, what the fuck are they doing on the pitch? You know, and that communication between him and Mane, I have criticised it before where he doesn't lay off the passes, but you watched today, he was thinking about with Bobby, they were pivoting and they were swapping positions with one another. Salah was going down the middle. He'd lay it off to Bobby. Bobby would then track it back into the middle. Salah would swing round to get it on his left. The passing and the thought pattern there is a lot more open this season, I think. And I think you've got to give credit where credit's due. Salah has done a really good job. But I don't get where some of these... No, Chris, we will not sing the Salah song. But I just don't see why all this hatred's coming in for him all the time. Like, I keep saying, what more do you want from him? Like, what do you want? I don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be one of those players that, you know, it's just never properly loved by certain fans in the Liverpool fan base. And I think it's a small minority. I think it's just going to be that case. Or even you think about the Premiership, they still don't talk about Salah as one of the greats, even though his statistics, the amount of goals he scored.
It's always, but only Salah has more.
Yeah, but they still don't ever talk about him in the sense of like one of the Premiership greats, which is weird.
Only thing I can think of is it comes down to him being Egyptian, being Muslim. That's the only thing, because that's what you see. You see that negativity, that nastiness drawn out, because it's just like, well, if he was an English player or a European player, you wouldn't see that hatred. And that's the only thing that I've ever seen that people have used against him. And I'm like, well, that's not really a valid point, is it?
Well, I hope it's not that. Another big thing here, Chris Wells says Thiago didn't get booked today. She did. I did think when he dived in early on, he was going to get booked. So that was... Moving on to that, moving on to this one, Parth says that Alisson looked much more confident with his pass in the second half. Like, what do you think about Alisson's performance? Because obviously there's been a lot of stick that's come to Alisson because of the Man City game, the Leicester game. People are like, the knives have been out for him with certain fans, certain small fans, like where they are trying to say even Alisson's deteriorating. I've seen even someone saying that's Atterberg curse, that all these top goalkeepers have started to regress. And Alisson's now regressing. Today, I thought he was really, really good. To be honest, like, the odd pass went astray, but overall, I thought he was much more improved and made some good saves and good positioning. So, what did you think of him?
Come on, you can't deny Alisson is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and it's undoubtedly that he's going to have a different form at some point. Everyone goes on about how the back line is had to play with 12, I think it's 12 or something now, like different partnerships. In the past couple of weeks alone, but no one talks about the impact that has on Alisson. Because I'm sorry, but if you're a goalkeeper, you need to trust the back four in front of you. And if you've got, 1 minute you've got Virgil and Gomez, and then Virgil's out, and then you've got Gomez and Matip, and then Gomez goes out, and you've got Matip and Phillips, and then Matip and Williams, and then you've got now Kabak, and you've never played with Kabak, and you've got Davies sitting on the side, and then you've got Henderson, that's going to confuse a goalkeeper. Because every player has a very different playing style, and especially with having CDMs in centre-back position, in centre-halves, it's going to throw them. And I think you've got to give Alisson a little bit of slack there. But today his performance was much better. It wasn't the quality I expect from Alisson still. I felt like he was still rushing out far too easy for the ball when he should have stayed back. There were times when you heard Kabak making shouts to Alisson to leave it or directing him of where to pass it. I mean, there was one, I think it was just into the second half, where Kabak passed it back to Alisson and told him where to make the pass, the distribution, and he ignored him and he passed to Hendo and put Hendo under pressure. And that's not the Alisson, that's not the level that he should be playing at. And I just think, he was much improved than what he has been recently, but it wasn't what he should be. He's still not where the level we're accustomed to with Alisson. But again, like I said, that probably comes down to trusting your partnership in front of you. If you don't trust your defensive partners in front of you, you're going to rush out and try and take the ball. And I just wish, normally I have the Liverpool fan fear, after Mignolet and Karius, when they rushed out, your heart sunk. And you just thought, oh God, here we go. There's going to be 3 goals in before he's even got off the floor. It panics you. And I'm starting to get that a little bit with Alisson when he's rushing out at the minute. I used to trust Alisson to rush out and make these sweeper keeper moves, but I don't trust him at the minute to do that. I just wish he'd stay in his area. Just stay there.
Yeah.
Don't move.
I think we're just gonna get used to it, because even when he was at Inter Milan, Roma, sorry, they always, even like Roma fans were saying that Alisson will once in a while make a brain fart pass or do something overconfidence, and I think this is his nature of his game. Like, he is going to continue to do those risky passes.
And that's fine, but
I think, like I said, it does come down to the trust of defense centre backs. I don't think he would be making those mistakes if the Virgil game was in front of him.
No, because
he just wouldn't. Yeah, but with Kabak and Henderson, there's still that thing, obviously, communication and trust, where he thinks like, do I trust these players?
But he has to. He's got no choice. He has to trust them, because right now, Kabak is our starting centre back, and hopefully when Fabinho, if he'll be doing his fitness test in a couple of days, he'll come back and he'll be able to slot into that defensive role again. He needs to trust them, and he needs to adapt very quickly, because we are not going to get any further through the Premier League when we go back to the League On and we're playing Everton. And if he doesn't trust them against Everton, it's going to be on his head again. He has to have a little bit of faith. Yeah, be a bit cautious. Yeah, be a bit, tenacious about what you want to do. But you've got to have some level of trust in those players in front of you. They are your team. It's not you sat there. It's not all about you. There are 10 other players on that pitch. And as much as Alisson trusts Trent, because when it comes down Trent's side or Robert's side, you don't see him rushing out to the sides, to the fullback's position. You see him hang back, make a decision, and then rush out if he needs to and make himself big, like he did at the end. But he's rushing out too quick for them, and it's like, give Kabak a chance. He knows what he's doing. He was really solid tonight in defence. And I just wanted to slap Alisson and be like, give the kid a chance. He's only a baby.
Just want to read some comments here. So John says that he really wants to beat Everton this weekend. A hard-fought 3-1 will do. Chris Wells says, remember, Thiago doesn't suit Liverpool, according to Sky Sports. Charlotte says the intensity of the team promotes safety, and commitment and effort of the team to get to every ball was really good. John again says, great game for Kabak. That fight needed against Richarlison would be on the weekend. Charlotte says, on the money, Sophie. She also says Alisson was lacking confidence with back four. Paul says number 7 incoming. Oh, hopefully, Paul.
We hope.
And then John said that steady defensive combo will help steady the back. So I just want to move on to someone else now. And I think this, I have been, at first I have to admit, I wasn't 100% sold on him. But now he's just proving me wrong week in, week, like, in his performances and his maturity at his age. And I just think we just have to give like a mention to Curtis Jones, because he has again, for a big, this is a big Champions League knockout game, and he's put in like such an assured performance. And obviously people talk about Foden and how great Foden is, but I think like we have to just say that Curtis Jones is coming along really nicely. So what did you make of Curtis Jones' performance tonight? And
what do you think? Come on, you know me well enough now. What do I think about Curtis Jones? Like, he was so good. Like, he was everywhere in that midfield today. I think he actually I'm going to say something now and you're going to be quite shocked. I think he did a much better fucking job than Gini. He completely blew Gini out the water for me tonight, and I just think he did Gini's job better. And he was passing forward. He was very creative, and he was everywhere on the pitch when you wanted him to be. But then he kind of disappear, but for the right reasons. Like, the eye would come off him, but then you'd look and he'd be somewhere else and constantly trying to maintain that possession. His recoveries were really good as well, and I just think he's becoming a hell of a player for so young. Because how old is he? 19, 20?
Yeah, I think he's just turned 20.
Just turned 20. Like, he's a baby, and he was thrown in the deep end. It wasn't that long ago he was doing the FA Cup game, and we were playing him in the kids. While we were up doing the World Club Cup, he was getting played with the kids and Milner and that. And we were like, oh, play the babies. He's not really a baby anymore. He's one of the, the senior squad, and he's fitting in really well. And I think I said it when we first started seeing Curtis Jones playing. He gives me Trent vibes. Like, he gives me that, it's the scouser in the team type mentality. I love it, and it just shows stronger through them. I don't know whether anybody else will agree with me on that one, but I just feel like when you've got a Scouser in the team, it means a lot more to them. Because, you look at the likes of Gerrard, or Fowler, they grew up in Liverpool, they lived, they breathed the club, it was everything to them, and then when they played, you saw that it was more than just a club to them, it was more than just a contract, it was their life. And you see that with Jones and with Trent 100%, like they are constantly going for it, and he's just shone for all the right reasons tonight for me.
Yeah, I think what I like about Curtis is his reading of the game and movement and retention of the ball is really, really good for someone that's only 20. And the way he uses the ball, I think the one evolution I'm hoping for Curtis Jones though going forward is he scored a lot of goals in under 21s, under 19s. He was a goal scorer, and he was getting at least like 15, 14 goals, at that level. And I want him to get back on the goals because I think he's got it in his locker to score regular goals. To do I'm not saying as good as Foden, but to do what Foden's doing and getting regular goals and assists. I think that's the evolution next for him is to start getting the boss scoring goals because I don't want to become a Ginny. I want him to keep that attacking element because that's what's got in his locker, personally for me.
Yeah, he has got it in his locker, and I don't think he'll ever lose that. I don't think a player like Jones will ever lose that attacking edge. Because that's obviously what his passion is. He loves to do that. And I think if you've got a player like Gini, obviously we know he goes and plays for the national, Holland's national team and he bangs goals in. But that's not his passion in the sense of he's not an out-and-out goal scorer. Because if that was the case, he'd play that role in Liverpool. He'd still fight and push forward for goals. Where Gini's quite happy to be the more, just your basic holding midfielder. That's what he's happy to do. But with Curtis Jones, he's constantly got that forward drive. He's constantly thinking of how to make those chances. But like I said before, at the minute where we are with our injuries and where we are with our squad and the way we have to play, Jones can't afford to be pushing up too high and making these, hopefully next season or later on in this season when the lads are back and we get a bit more of a solid unit again, maybe and hopefully we can see him start making those challenges and those runs. But for now, I'm quite happy with him taking the quote-unquote genie role. As long as it makes our midfield secure. That for me is the big thing, making the area that he's in secure. I can deal with him not making those forward runs right now because I know, like you said, he's got it in his locker. I know he can do it and probably will do it again, but right now there are bigger priorities. So I kind of agree with you, kind of disagree with you, as always.
Well, I think obviously maybe when we play low blocks, he should be making those kind of runs. Maybe in a big game like now, I can understand it, but I think if we play a low block team, he needs to be making those runs because that's where we struggled. Going on to Kabak. So Kabak, again, a lot of people, I was critical for Kabak as well on the Saturday, even though it was his first game. And I think he was much improved today. I still think, obviously, the jury's fully out on him. It's too early to say whether or not we sign him permanently at the end of the loan. But he was much more improved today, I have to say. And he was much more confident in his defensive play. There were a few good times where he made crucial interceptions, and he feel much more composed with Alisson, and also in terms of his communication, it's much more better. Yeah. So, how do you feel in terms of Kabak overall? Because this is the big match to come into at 20 and have to play this for your second game.
Yeah, he stepped up to the plate today. I think people were very quick to write him off on Saturday. He had that one error against Leicester on the weekend, but that wasn't really his error. That was a communication error between him, Henderson, and obviously Alisson, which resulted in. Well, I said it on the podcast. People can go and watch it back if they really care that much. But that wasn't really his full error. That was something that happened as a result of bad communication. But that communication was ironed out a bit today, and I think he had a lot more confidence in himself. He's got his first game, with the team done. It's under his belt. That first game nerves, oh my God, this is my debut game, gone. Now it's a case of, okay, I've played with these once. I've kind of got a little bit of an idea. It's like starting any new job. You walk in your first day, you go, oh, crap, I don't know what I'm doing. Second day, you go, okay, I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm a little bit better now. And I think that's what he did today. And he really stepped up to the mark for me. I think he was very solid at the back. And I wasn't worried. When the ball went back, I wasn't sitting there going, oh my God, you've got it. Is Hendo running back? Is are they going to break through? Because I kind of just trusted them to be there, which for me is really important, that I feel secure in the players that are there already. And for him to be on his second game, his first Champions League game for us, and I wasn't worried or watching where he was or what he was doing. I wasn't looking for mistakes. I was just watching him and enjoying watching him play. And there was one point when he ran it right up to the corner flag. And I was like, Kabak, where are you fucking going? Like, what are you doing? But then equally, I was like, okay, I'll jog back now. Like, the fear wasn't there. I felt quite comfortable with him, which I'm hoping is a sign of things to come, to be honest.
Yeah, I think one thing I did notice today, that in terms of that feeling, is I felt more secure and confident in Kabak than I have when I watched Philip Williams playing.
I don't trust Williams.
And I've had that also, even though Phillips has done well. There's certain games where I didn't feel that 100% confident in Phillips, but I think today I felt a bit more sure than I've done. So in the promise, I think obviously Everton's going to be a big test for him because again this weekend. But I feel like overall, I feel much more confident in Kabak next to Henderson. And I think that's a big thing going forward. So hopefully it kicks on.
I'm going to say something now that you're going to be like, whoa, seriously? I actually think we should play Hendo at centre back again for Everton, just for that.
Don't think we have a choice, do we?
If Fabinho passes his fitness test and comes back, I still think it should be Henderson and Kabak, because they've had 2 games now where their confidence improvement. I think if you throw Fabinho in back with Kabak, it's a new communication again in a derby. That's always very difficult to play.
I personally wouldn't play Fabinho. I'd have him on the bench because I think like Liverpool are just guilty of always rushing players back too soon.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They get injured or they don't put a good performance in. And I think we saw that in the City game. We rushed 3 players back who weren't fully fit and put them on in the game, and that's also played a part in us losing that game. So I'd rather Fabinho didn't start at all. It was on the bench.
But if he is back to start, I'd still rather have Hendo there for that. It's a bit more of a solid partnership at the minute. Like, not solid in the sense of, it's cemented, it's written on the wall, we've etched it in. But I think you've got 2 games now under your belt where you've worked together with Alisson. I think just for now, on the back of we've only got a few days until the next game, it's a big game, it's a derby, it's never a nice game to play. I'd stick with that centre-back partnership, to be honest. I think it worked really well.
In the comments there, Chris Welch says Curtis Jones is Scouse born and bred.
Of course he is.
He also says Jota, Fabinho, and Naby Keita will be available for a second leg, which is that's actually huge. Also good to see you guys tonight, 1982 Reds podcast. They say up the bloody Reds, massive win. Good to see you tonight, guys. I think it is a massive win. I think I just want to touch on Jordan Henderson, because I think there was a massive stat before that said that he'd gone to 195 appearances tonight, and he's now seventh on the list of Liverpool. I think he's 9 off Sami Hyypiä, who's in 6th place for most caps, and he tied with Alan Hansen on caps now. So I think again, like Henderson came into criticism against the Leicester game in terms of like him controlling the defense and being lead at the back, and usually did criticize him. They said he didn't have it, but tonight he was much improved in terms of his leadership, controlling the centre backs, controlling the defense, and there were a lot of times where he actually made some good tackles, made some good interceptions, and controlled the game from the back. So it was another astute performance from our captain. How did you find Henderson?
Do you know what? You can ask me about any of the players. I can't really fault any of them today. I think they all stepped up in their own way. But Henderson showed us why he was captain tonight for me. He showed us why he deserves to have that armband. You and I both said last podcast after the Leicester game that we railroaded Henderson a little bit, and we were like, it wasn't good enough from our captain. He should have had more authority on that back line. And I said it during the match that I feel like that press conference was a massive change for us. When Klopp came out and shut down all rumours, and then Hendo came out and was like, oh, I love that rumour about Ali and Robbo. Like, that's absolutely, basically, it's just bollocks. We're fine. And I think getting, like, clearing the air type thing about all these rumours is probably helped the players' mentality as well. Now that they're not going, oh God, all these fans are saying these, because they're going to get bombarded on social media about it. And I think Henderson really had a completely different attitude to the game today, and you saw that in the way he played. Like you said before, he had really good passing. You know, his distribution, normally we see that in the midfield and do miss it from the midfield, but he was able to get that ball further up the pitch, and while still controlling that back line, they held really well. So I was quite impressed to see Henderson, as we know Henderson, back into the game. And I think at one point he went into the midfield and Gini covered for him. And it's just like that flow, that confidence of, okay, we can be a bit more fluid with our positions, and we can interchange and that. And I think that comes down to good leadership again for me. And I think he shows exactly, like I said before, exactly why he should be our captain. He has a great game.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think
you looked at pissed off, and I was like, "Oh shit, here we go."
No, I think Henderson like put in a captain's performance tonight, because I think like without that leadership at the back tonight, Leipzig did look threatening on the odd occasion on their counters. So I think like Henderson really mopped up well and really ensured that everyone stayed organised. And I always love hearing Henderson just shout on the pitch, like with the pass. Yeah, I just love that. So that was really good to see from Henderson. I think one thing I loved about tonight was our game management. In terms of like, I think in the second half there's a point where we just came keep the ball football from Leipzig, and they just couldn't get the ball off us. It was just like beautiful one-touch passes.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just shows you like that's how you handle a tough away match.
Yeah.
In terms of game management, keeping the ball, and it showed our experience of winning the Champions League and getting to finals and being where we are. Like, and just looked so good. The amount of players we got missing out, it just looks so good that we can have that kind of polished kind of performance in terms of just controlling the game and managing it.
Like I said it last night, didn't I? Like we needed to go into this game and show everybody why Liverpool are still a team to be fearful of, and that our performances of late in the Premier League aren't something to just write us off completely. And I think tonight we really went into that game and shows everybody that, oh fuck, Liverpool is still a big team to contend with. And the fact that we're able to do this with so many of our players out, and we're still able to put up a unit like this that can go against a team that are 4 points off Bayern in the Bundesliga. They've got a strong record, and I think it was only 2 games they'd lost in all competitions prior to this one, and they've just lost 2-0 to a patchwork team, I'm going to call it. And that just shows that Liverpool are still something to be very fearful of. And I think it did come down, like I completely agree with you, to really good game management today, and I think it paid off tenfold.
Yeah, I think it also leads to my next point. Like, it doesn't matter. We've always seen this, even like in 2005, 2007. It doesn't matter our time of league form, or Premiership form. Liverpool can be awful in the Premiership, but when it comes to Champions League, the European Champions League anthem hits.
Yeah.
And we are playing against the best teams in Europe. We're different beasts. Fair enough. Sometimes always in the group stages, we might not always be the best, but the knockout stages going forward, we come alive. That's when we switch on. And we showed it like in 18-19 when we weren't that great in the Champions League, but when we played Bayern Munich, we switched on and just dominated them home and away. And I think that's one thing I will say is that Liverpool are a different beast. And it feels so good, like how the Champions League can like
our domain. It's our thing. Like we are the English team that basically owns the Champions League for England. Like you don't see Spurs, you don't see City, you don't see Chelsea or Arsenal or any of these other teams. Even United, you look at United and you kind of go, all right, okay, they're in the Champions League, but they're not staying there very long, and they get kicked out, by PSG, and it's fucking hilarious when they're back in Europa. But Liverpool own that league for the England teams, and I just think it's ours. It's ours to lose, and it's ours to win. And like you said, it's a different beast, isn't it? It's like a different team that turned up. It's like, yep, this is ours, and what? And I just love it. There's something about Champions League football that you just kind of go, yay!
It is us, and obviously it's a shame the fans aren't there, because I think we'd be a different beast with the fans there even more. But it's the fact that it is, it's part of our bread and butter, part of our DNA to win the Champions League and to be in finals and to be far. So, I feel this is going to kind of really revitalize the team, motivate them, get the confidence flowing, and we're going to see a different team going forward now, which is really possible. Well, yeah, we do hope.
We hope. We hope.
Yeah. So, but how big? So do you feel the tie's over now? How big do you think this 2-0 win is? Is it tied over? Or do you feel that we still have to go out in the next game, if it's Anfield or it's a neutral venue, and kill the game off?
Okay, let's just put it this way. Let's go back to the season we won the Champions League. Let's go back to Barcelona. We played Barcelona away, and we were battered. And I came out of that game and I thought that league's lost this year to City by the skin of our teeth. We're not going to win the Champions League. Fuck this. Fuck everyone. And I wanted to die. And then I didn't even want to watch that home game against Barcelona. I was like, what's the point? Messi's going to bag a goal in, then we're screwed. We're not going to get anything. And then we score 4. And it was the most amazing comeback. And for me, it was better than the Istanbul comeback. And I just think you can't write it off because everybody wrote us off then. Everybody said that Barcelona were going to win that. 100% said they were going to win it. And then we went and we won 4-0 and we ended up winning the Champions League from it. So I think you'd be very stupid to say a 2-0 away win is enough to stop Leipzig from coming back and taking it from us. Anything can happen. We might not even be able to play at Anfield. We might have to play at a neutral venue as well. And it might have that same impact on us because we know it's our home game and our goals don't count for as much, but theirs do. So they could come and score 3 in the next one and then we're done. So we've got to go into that game. We've got to be like, right, okay, let's get another 2. If we get another 2, then, okay, nothing they do is going to make a difference. If we get 1, it will make it very difficult for them. But I think to go in complacently like, oh, yeah, this tie's done. It's not done. It's only half-time. It's not done until the next game. And it's not over until that final whistle's blown.
Yeah, Johnny Doyle says here, not close to being over. We need to be careful not to get carried away. And I fully agree. It is, obviously 2 away goals. If we've got a 3rd away goal tonight, then I would say it's pretty much done. Because I don't think Leipzig are going to score 4 in the next game, where it is. But 2 away goals, I think it's a difficult game because obviously I think Leipzig in the second game are going to have to come out much more to us, which is going to keep open spaces because I think there's a lot of holes in the defence. And I think that's going to suit us. But I think obviously in the second game, if we get the first goal, then it kills the game off for me.
Yeah.
If we score first, it's game over for them.
Early goal, first 15 will absolutely, it'll rattle them. It will rattle them.
But I think we're going to see a much more polished performance in Liverpool. I think we'll come out guns blazing, kill the game off, and then control it afterwards.
I hope so.
It's not what we do. Normally do in those kind of games. We come out guns blazing and then just control it. Yeah. But yeah, I do think there's still a long way to go, and I don't think any of the boys will be carried away and thinking the tie's over.
No.
They still obviously know that Leipzig are a very still good team. We saw that with Man United game. So we can't. There's no disrespecting them and trying to think this game's over. The clean sheet. We haven't had a clean sheet in God knows how long. I can't remember the last time we had a clean sheet.
Should we find out when the last time we had a clean sheet? Should we have a look?
Yeah, was that? We didn't get a clean sheet at Palace. I don't think we had a. Yeah.
Hang on, I'll tell you in a second. I'll find out. Give us a minute. Carry on with your points. I'll tell you in a sec.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the clean sheet is absolutely huge for us because exactly what we need before the Merseyside derby. Clean sheet in a tough European away game versus the second best team in the Bundesliga. And it's going to the confidence going to do to Alisson, Henderson, Kabak, Trent, Robbo, and in the midfield just to know, look, we've got a clean sheet. The confidence starts flowing back in the team, and you start to feel more stability back then, more trust, more cohesion. And I think if we can then follow up with another clean sheet against Everton, that'd be massive. So, when was the last time we had a clean sheet?
Our last clean sheet was Southampton No, it wasn't. Sorry, that's a lie. Our last clean sheet was Wolves in December.
Wow, that's oh god,
Yeah.
that's bad.
That was our last Premier League clean sheet. Yeah.
Wow, that's bad.
It's been a draw or a loss really since then. Oh, RB. Ugh. But yeah, that's quite. It's been quite a while. It's been a good while since we had a clean sheet, so it's quite nice to actually have one again.
Yeah, I think like I said, yeah, imagine the confidence, Alisson, Kabak, and Henderson can go home tonight knowing that we got a clean sheet, and that's huge, because it gives you that. So what are you saying?
I'm just saying it's a massive thing to get a clean sheet, especially for Kabak. He's going to be really proud of the fact that, especially after losing to Leicester on his debut, in the manner that we did lose, he's probably going to beat himself up about that with Alisson, that collision. So I think, especially for him, it's his first Champions League game with Liverpool, and he's got a clean sheet, and he had a solid performance. So that's going to give him a massive confidence boost. That's going to impact on, like you said, with Alisson, where Alisson's now going to be sat there going, well, actually, yeah, maybe it's a bit. I can trust him a little bit more, and it's just going to tighten up that back line, and it's a massive boost for the entire team of, oh, yeah, we can still do this.
Yeah, I think like Johnny Doyle says here, this result and the result of the weekend, and we're back fighting fit. We could be back to our best with that confidence alone. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Johnny. Like if we can then get a win and a clean sheet against Everton, or even just a win against Everton, to be honest. Like
even if we just snap Pickford's knees, I'll be all right.
Yeah, chop the dinosaur's legs off. But if we can get a win there, that's going to be huge in terms of revitalizing our Premiership race as well, because we're still in this race in the top four, and it can be the starting block for something great. So going on to that, last thing, who's your man of the match?
Man of the match, I'd probably have to go Robbo. It was a toss-up between Robbo and Salah. Like I said before, Salah's been really good for me consistently, and he played a really good game today. But I think for me, it was definitely Robbo, because I've said it before. I criticised him recently about looking very tired in games and not giving the performances that we're used to seeing from Robbo and the intensity. And I saw that again tonight, and that wonderful, wonderful chance he made where it was so close to going in. If that had gone in, that would have been goal of the season without a shadow of a doubt. And I think to go in with that confidence, just to have a fucking whack at that ball and get it in, says a lot about him. And I just think he played a really good game, so I'm going to go with Robbo. Go on, who's yours?
I'm going to go to Jones. I think he ran the midfield for us. At the age of 20, he put in a very assured, accomplished performance in a big European tie away from home. I think just seeing Jones extend this way, it feels very exciting what he can bring going forward in the future. I think that's also great for Jones as well, going to the Merseyside derby. He has to start that game.
That'll mean a lot to him.
So I think that's going to be a great game. Confidence tonight to go into that game and boss that Everton game.
We've got a game, more guns blazing.
Yeah, just before. Yeah, so I think that's. And what do you? So obviously, to sign off with, it's been a big week for Klopp. Obviously his mother passing, the emotional side of everything, not be able to go see her for the funeral, or see her before she passed. Also the fact that all this nonsense rumors about him resigning or being sacked.
Oh, they wound me up.
So to come into this game saying we're back to business and we're gonna fight and stuff and we get a win. How big is this for Klopp?
Oh yeah, Klopp come out in that press conference and basically just put everything to bed and was like, look, I acknowledge that I've gone through a tough time, but I've actually been dealing with it for several weeks before it actually came to light for all of you. And he made it very clear that, yes, he's struggling in his personal life, but when he comes to work, just like every one of us, it's work mode. And if he didn't feel ready to be there, he wouldn't be there. he said in his interview, he's like, yes, I've got grey hair. Yes, my beard's going grey. Yes, I look tired. I got bags in the mouth, but I am tired. But I'm full of energy and I'm ready to fight for this still. And I think that's what we needed to hear from Klopp. Because especially after the Leicester game, he looked so dejected. He looked so worn down. And that's where all those rumours came from. But I definitely think this was a massive thing for Klopp tonight to win. Because that's just showing everybody that everyone, every little fucker who doubted him and was like, oh, Klopp needs to go. Klopp's messing up now. This is like, this is like the Dortmund downhill spiral all over again. He's going to fail at Liverpool. This is the worst we've had. Blah, 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 blah. This is temporary. This is not an ongoing thing. And I think Klopp came out tonight and basically slapped every single one of them in the face and went, shut the fuck up, I'm still here. And it was a massive thing for win. It was just as much a win for Klopp tonight on a personal level as it was for the boys, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll sign off with, I think like tonight's huge for Klopp because it shows, that Liverpool still got it for one. We're still a dark horse and a major power in Europe to want to be not taken lightly going forward in the Champions League. And it just, just gives us that breathing space and gives Klopp that confidence, look, if he was ever having doubts himself, which I don't believe he was, those doubts are nonsense. And now Liverpool, despite injuries, we're still a dangerous team and we've got a lot still to offer going forward. So, I'm just happy that Klopp got this win because before a big period coming up now with the Merseyside derby or the weekend, this is exactly what he needed, a big win. So, very happy. So I think that's a way to sign it off. Everyone in the chat, you've been amazing as always. Like, I love how popping and, buzzing the chat always is. So give yourself a big pat on the back for, how much.
Give yourself a big pat on the back. That sounds like something I'd say.
So I love your energy. So, really good to see. As always, do let other people know about the Youngster podcast, because the more people you tell and get people to come and join the Youngster podcast, the more bigger we can be, grow a wider Liverpool family, and the more we can provide you more content. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button again, because the more we appreciate your support and the more you like it, the more views it's going to get, the more people are going to see it, the more we're going to grow. Otherwise, it's great to just top off this podcast tonight with a big win. Liverpool have come away from a big European tie with a massive win. It's still all to be played for, so we're not going to get carried away. Obviously we've got the Merseyside derby, so we will be back with a preview of that this Thursday. So watch out for that. We're going to have a big Everton fan coming on to help us dissect that game. So do watch that. Otherwise, Sophie, it's always a pleasure having you on the channel, and it's a pleasure having you on tonight as always.
I'm very proud of us, we didn't fight. We did well.
Yes, we did. You're disagreeing, but yeah, we did.
When you started this just us, I thought, oh my god, we haven't got a referee. We haven't got someone to step in and stop us from fighting. We did well. I'm proud of us. Well done. Give yourself a pat on the back.
I will do. I will do. Otherwise, everyone, enjoy tonight. Liverpool are back. Got the confidence flowing. Otherwise, we hope to see you all on Thursday. Have a great evening and up the Reds.
Like that.
See ya.